Jenna, how are you? Welcome to our.
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome. So
Thanks for
happy to
having
have
me.
happy to have you on this morning. I know that I read your story somewhere, well, of course, on social media, and I was like, oh my gosh, got to hear about this. So excited.
It's a little bit crazy. Oh my gosh. Like if I were really to go back over the years, because that's where it started. We have 7 babies and a
Wow.
homeschool. And
Where do you live?
we live in South Florida. So we live in South Florida. We had babies after babies after babies, and I just didn't really recover after the last one. And we ended up in the mission field. So we
Oh,
were
wow.
in Nicaragua. Yeah, we lived there for the summer. We went down after some friends of ours had gone down there and did missions. So we joined them. We lived there for the summer.
This is
Um,
seventh child.
yeah, he was 9 weeks old when
In,
we were on the ground.
oh wow, in Nicaragua, and this was when I haven't heard.
This is, he's 4, so about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So 4 years ago, we lived there for the summer, and I came back sick, like really sick. The doctors thought I had picked up a parasite, or a virus, or I got food poisoning, or I had chronic IBS symptoms. I had them before, but not like this. This was constant, and it would not go away. I ended up in the emergency room the first time right after Christmas that year. So after 6 months of being sick, I ended up in the emergency room the first time. And all they could tell me was, well, your numbers look fine, but you need to go get some probiotics and get a good vitamin. And so I have amazing doctors, and they are more holistic sided. And so they agreed. They said, get yourself some really good probiotics. And I knew the value of them, but I didn't really know how much I needed them.
Yeah.
So the crazy cycle started. I turned 40, and I was like, I'm going to work out. This is the year. I'm going to lose this extra weight. I'm going to do all this stuff. I actually was allergic to exercise.
What?
Yeah. The
I think I am too.
I am serious. The cortisol triggered an inflammation overload, an adrenal failure.
Oh my
And
God.
so my system just kind of went wonky really fast. I would end up in the emergency room 6 times in 6 months. It was insane. I went to every ologist there was, and we didn't get any answers. And finally, my doctor looked at my numbers. She goes, your stuff is a little off. I think that you have a specialist call you, and they will let us know what's going on. And so sure enough, the guy called. We went over all the list, got to everything, and he was like, okay. And at this point, I was bald. I had lost all of my hair.
What?
And was wearing wigs and was crazy. And so I finally got a diagnosis. My system was in failure. And so I didn't know what else to do. And so they said, do this, take these medications, take these prescriptions, and you have to take this prescription for that one because there's side effects. And it was like this crazy cycle.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I did that for 6 months. And then I got a second opinion. And my doctor is a functional medicine doctor. And he was the first one to ever tell me anything about gut health. He said, in his opinion, everything was tied to our gut. And I was like, okay, so this is 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. After I had been through the gamut of all the other doctors. And he recommended his probiotics and the things he sold in his office. And I took them. I took them faithfully. They were crazy expensive, but I took them because I wanted to feel better.
Right.
And he also recommended this insane diet. It's an autoimmune protocol. So you cut out all these foods and all these vegetables. And I did all of that. So the joke in our house was mommy couldn't eat anything. I was on the no-eat diet. But this is the kicker. Nothing changed.
Oh, wow.
My blood work didn't change. My hair wasn't growing back. I wasn't losing any weight. And this is when I heard about Plexus for the first time. My friend Bridget reached out to me. And I was so skeptical. I was just in the cycle of trying to get better and not knowing what was going on. And so she reached out. And I just was like, oh, I don't think that that's going to work for me. I'm glad it works for you.
Yeah.
But the second time I heard about Plexus was my friend Jenna. She's local. And she reached out and said, I found this stuff. And you really got to try it. It actually works. And so because I love her and I know her and I trust her. When she asked me to please just try it, I did.
Wow.
And it worked. So when I combined the products, I just started with Triplex, the basic Triplex. Honestly, it was right after Christmas. It was a year ago. We didn't have extra funds. That's what we gave ourselves for Christmas. And within a matter of weeks, I was feeling better. I was sleeping. I was pooping. That was a big deal. Like,
Exactly.
in our house, we talk about poop. I was not a pooper. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I was chronically constipated. I would have to take all the other things to try to get stuff to move, and it wasn't working. All of a sudden, I'm sleeping. I feel better. I have energy. I'm not having to like take naps every day. I'm not having extreme fatigue, no joint pain, no muscle pain, things like this. I wasn't struggling with headaches anymore. Because of all the prescriptions, there's so much stuff that goes on in your system.
So someone, I know everybody always asks this question. So what slim did you start? What slim do you take? And what's your dosage every day? How did you start? So people always ask that. So
People always ask.
Yeah.
I started with hunger control, and I did that for about a week. And then my husband picked it up, and he lost 14 pounds in 14 days.
Oh my God.
So when he took that hunger control, I switched and I went to microbiome slim. And that's what I still use today. And so I absolutely love the probiotics and prebiotics in that. And so I take one of those a day. I still do triplex every single day. I didn't add MetaBurn into my regimen until February or March. And I did that because of the support, all the herbs and the minerals, all the great stuff that's in it.
Yeah.
I didn't actually do it for weight loss.
Yeah.
And so then I added X Factor Plus and Vital Biome.
Yeah.
So those are things that I take religiously. I take it like my life depends on it, because once you've been really sick and you've gone through that, you don't ever want to go back. Like, I had forgotten, you guys, what it was like to just live life abundantly for the last 20 years, having babies.
Yeah.
It was just that, just that draining. And I was told too, throughout this whole process, you just have to suck it up. This is just how it is. You're getting older. Your hormones are going to be out of balance. You should be tired. You have 7 kids. Or one of my favorite was, oh, you have such a pretty face. Like, don't ever tell that to somebody that's struggling with weight. Like, that was hard. And so, right? You're just like, what? So, yeah, over the last year, all of my blood work changed.
Wow.
And so I'm off all medication now. I don't take any prescription drugs.
Wow.
And I've lost 65 pounds.
Shut up.
I know. This is the kicker. I didn't really know I needed to lose that much weight. I was in denial.
That's amazing.
I just thought if I could lose, 20 pounds. I started at 186 pounds. I'm only 5'2". So for me, that was a lot of weight. And so once I started losing weight, I started walking. And that's what we did. We just ran our first 5K last October in San Diego. And I didn't die, which is great. I'm here today. So, but I love sharing my story because it gives people hope. I think one of the biggest things that people need to realize is it's not an overnight cure.
Yeah.
I didn't get into this overnight. It was a progression of things and just a constant onslaught. The other thing is that the products actually do work when you give them time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like, it's exciting to find something that actually does work, but we just have to be consistent. And that drinking your water, you guys know, that's no joke. Like,
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Right.
And taking your stuff.
Well, too often people start with Plexus. One, the last resort. They come to Plexus for whatever reason, thinking, well, I've tried everything else, and I'll give it a shot. And so there's not a lot of times. It's like people's expectations are so low. They're not into this. A lot of times they won't even try it, but they're not even coming into this with that many expectations. So they won't continue on with the products for long enough to even see the results.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you said is key. And we've seen this. We've been in the business for 7 years.
Yeah.
We've seen this time and time again. The people who will stay on the products for at least 90 days that's when the breakthrough really comes. A lot of times, you do see people lose weight in the beginning, like your husband. That's incredible. It seems to happen more for guys. Women always complain
Yeah.
about it. But I mean, you do see some of those results in the beginning, but it's what comes after that, those 90 days, that's when everything really changes. And what's crazy is that people will take something from the doctor for 6 months, a year, and not see any change, but be afraid to start Plexus. You've got to give it a shot. You've got to give it a, you know. So it's
Yeah.
really
When we
awesome that I mean, after all this time, you found something that really worked for you.
It actually works. And I'll be honest, I was like the most skeptical person. I told my friend, listen, I will try this, but I am never telling anybody. I am not going to share. So don't add me to pay. Don't do any of that.
Yeah.
I did all that. And then I was like, and if it doesn't work, I'm getting my money back. But in a month, people were asking me, what am I doing? Because I wasn't wearing a wig to church. I was actually showing up and I was able to do stuff. Within 2 months, people were like starting to pay attention and I was feeling better. And now a year later, you know, we have built this business and that's an amazing opportunity. When you find something that works,
Yeah.
how can I not share it? So now I have this personal conviction that there's so many mamas just like me that are out there that were struggling, that were told just to suck it up. You just got to do it. It's okay. This is normal. But I feel better I'm almost 43. I feel better at 43 than I did at 33 and probably even 23.
Wow.
You know,